Hey everybody, this is Terry, and this is part 2 of the Qanon series concerning Matthew Coleman having murdered his children. So in this particular video, I am going to go over the application for a warrant by telephone or other reliable electronic means. And let me see real quick. Get that on up there. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you. I, a federal law enforcement officer or an attorney for the government, request a search warrant. This is all really interesting, by the way, and state under penalty of perjury that I have reason to believe that on the following person or property located in the Northern District of California, there is now concealed. So that's C. Okay, the first one was C attachment A, C attachment B. The basis for the search under this FedR thing, evidence of a crime. Okay, that's what you check. The search is related to a violation of Code Section 18 U.S.C. 1119, 1111, foreign murder of U.S. nationals. The application is based on these facts. See attached affidavit, which we went over yesterday. Well, that's when I did it anyway. Continued on the attached sheet. So let's go here. Attested to by the applicant in accordance with the requirements by telephone. Okay. Oh, this is going to be the affidavit first? I was wondering why this all looked familiar. Although it does look a little bit different, I think. Let me see. No, it's different. Okay. I'm a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and have been so employed since May 1, 2016. As a federal agent, I am empowered by United States law to conduct investigations regarding and make arrests for offenses enumerated in Title 18 of the United States Code. During my tenure as a special agent, I have conducted and participated in numerous investigations of criminal activity, executed search and arrest warrants, and seized evidence of federal criminal violations. Since April 1st, 2019, I have been assigned to work violent crimes against children at the FBI's Ventura Resident Agency. In this role, I am responsible for, among other things, enforcing federal criminal statutes involving the sexual exploitation of children. I have received both formal and informal training from the FBI regarding computer-related investigations and computer technology. My formal law enforcement training includes 21 weeks of education at the FBI Academy, where I took classes on writing affidavits and providing evidentiary testimony, among other topics. Prior to my assignment at the Ventura Resident Agency, I was assigned to the Los Angeles Violent Crime Task Force. As a member of this task force, I investigated various violent crimes, including bank robbery, extortion, kidnapping, and homicide. This affidavit supports an application by the United States of America for a search warrant for Meta Platforms Incorporated, headquartered at 1601 Willow Road, etc., to search the following online accounts: Facebook username, Matthew T. Coleman. By the way, I did check. It's gone. I guess that's been deleted or taken down. A first personal Facebook account used by Matthew Coleman. Facebook username, Love Water Surf. That is also not there. Used by Matthew Coleman, collectively as described in attachment A. For content and data from October 2018 to August 10th, 2021. For items that constitute evidence of violations of federal criminal law, namely Title 18, United States Code, Sections 1119 and 1111. Right, 4 ones. Foreign murder of United States nationals, as described in attachment B. On September 8, 2021, a federal grand jury in the Southern District of California indicted Matthew Coleman on 2 counts of the subject offense. The facts set forth in this affidavit are based on my own personal knowledge obtained from other individuals during my past participation in this investigation, including other law enforcement officers, interviews of witnesses, my review of documents and computer records related to this investigation, communications with others who have personal knowledge of the events and circumstances described herein, and information gained through my training and experience. Because this affidavit is submitted for the limited purpose of establishing probable cause in support of the application for a search warrant, it does not set forth every fact that I or others have learned during this investigation. Statement of probable cause. Abby Coleman reported Matthew Coleman missing. On August 9, 2021, Sergeant Lawson of the Santa Barbara Police Department contacted FBI Special Agent Jennifer Bannon regarding a possible parental kidnapping. Sergeant Lawson provided Special Agent Bannon with a copy of the missing person police report that was taken by the SBPD. I reviewed the police report and learned the following. On August 7, 2021, SBPD Officer Barriga spoke to Abby via telephone regarding her husband, Matthew Coleman. Abby reported to SBPD that she, Matthew, and their 2 children, Roxy and Kaleo, planned to go on a camping trip. Instead, Abby said that Matthew had left their home in Santa Barbara, California, in the family's Mercedes Sprinter van with Roxy and Kaleo. Abby reported that Matthew did not tell her where he was going and was not answering her text messages. The officer attempted to contact Matthew Coleman via telephone, but received no response. And note that after it says 2 years old, it has like a number 1. So there are footnotes here. But before I read that, let me read number 1. According to Roxy's birth certificate, she was born in September 2020. According to Kaleo's birth certificate, he was born in October 2018. Both were born in the United States and were U.S. citizens. The time period requested under the warrant to search the subject accounts begins the month of Kaleo's birth. Okay, so on August 8, 2021, Abby called SBPD to follow up on the previous day's report. SBPD Officer Michael Chung responded to the Coleman residence and met with Abby, who requested SBPD's assistance in reporting Matthew Coleman and their 2 children missing. Officer Chung asked Abby whether she could attempt to use the Find My iPhone application to locate Matthew's phone. Abby agreed and turned on a laptop which showed that Matthew's last known location was in Rosarito, Baja California, Mexico, at approximately 2:24 p.m. On August 9th, 2021, at about 11:50 a.m., Sergeant Lawson, SBPD Detective Davis, and District Attorney Investigator Asian went to the Coleman residence where they met Abby's friends, TC and AP, who explained that Abby had just left for San Diego. TC and AP showed how they were using the Find My iPhone app on a MacBook Pro computer, the MacBook, to track Matthew Coleman's iPhone movements in Mexico toward the San Isidro port of entry. AP and TC asked for help coordinating the search for Matthew Coleman, Roxy, and Kaleo. AP and TC showed Detective Davis and DAI Asian a text message from Matthew Coleman's iCloud account on the MacBook. The text message from Matthew to Abby was sent on August 9th at 3:12 a.m., stating, "Hi babe, miss you. Things have been rough, but starting to get some clarity as well. Still confused on a lot of things though, and processing through them. So many crazy thoughts going through my head right now. Hard to explain. Yeah, funny you're getting some clarity through my grandma's old Bibles. Wasn't there too? Anyways, was actually still thinking of burning them in case there's a chip in them or something. Going to keep processing through everything and hope to get some answers. Hope all this craziness ends soon. Love you." Okay, let's back up here and read number 2. According to Detective Davis's report, AP identified the MacBook as belonging to Matthew Coleman and said Abby was able to log in because she had his password. Later, AP provided the FBI with text messages between her and AC. That's Abby. Okay, so between that person and Abby, these text messages, which were on August 9th, between about 1:23 p.m. and 2:33 p.m., show Abby providing AP with Matthew Coleman's iCloud login and password, and Abby asking for any updates on Matthew's location, with AP responding, "It looks like he is at the border." AP and TC also showed Detective Davis and DAI Asian responsive text messages from Abby to Matthew Coleman asking if her children were okay, as well as a message from Abby to Matthew on August 9th at 9:24 a.m. stating, "We are doing this together, babe. Praying for clarity over you and your mind this morning. Everything you've believed and known to be true is happening right now. I'm partnering with you from Santa Barbara. Let's take back our city, the gateway of revival for the state of California and the nation and the world. You were created to change the course of world history. Take care of my little giant slayer and the voice of heaven's dove. They sure are special." Sergeant Larson thereafter seized the MacBook, and law enforcement obtained search warrants for the MacBook. At approximately 1 p.m. on August 9th, Matthew Coleman arrived at the SYPOE in the Mercedes Sprinter van. Matthew Coleman was referred to secondary inspection. There were no other occupants in the Mercedes. Federal agents took custody of the Mercedes. That same day, a Mexican liaison partner with the Secretariat relayed to FBI Supervisory Special Agent Joyce Denise that they had located 2 deceased children matching Roxy's and Kalio's descriptions in a ditch at approximately 8 a.m. on August 9th. Later that day, Matthew was interviewed by FBI Special Agent Nathaniel Dingle, during which time Dingle read Matthew Coleman his Miranda rights, and Matthew Coleman waived his rights and agreed to speak with agents. I reviewed the video recorded interview, during this which time Matthew Coleman made, among others, the following statements. Matthew Coleman confessed to killing his children, Roxy and Kalio. Matthew Coleman said he drove his children to Mexico on Saturday, August 7th, 2021. Matthew said that he believed his children were going to grow into monsters, so he had to kill them. At approximately 5 a.m. on August 9th, Matthew drove south on Descanso Road. He pulled off to the side of the road in an area of Rancho del Cielo. Matthew stated that first he killed Roxy using a spear fishing gun that pierced Roxy in the heart. After he killed his children, Matthew said that he moved their bodies approximately 30 yards away and placed them in some brush. Matthew Coleman stated that he drove a couple of miles where he had discarded the spear fishing gun and bloody clothes near a creek. He threw bloody clothes into a blue trash bin somewhere off the side of the road in Tijuana, Mexico. Okay, so number 3. Matthew Coleman provided agents with the approximate location of the bodies, which coincided with where the bodies were located by Mexican authorities. Matthew Coleman said that 5 or 6 days ago, he started noticing strange coincidences. He discussed QAnon and Illuminati conspiracy theories, as well as Strong's numbers, an index of every word in the Bible. He said visions and signs revealed that his wife Abby possessed serpent DNA. Matthew mentioned that he was not sure if his wife was a shapeshifter and had passed it on to his children, and that all things were pointing to the idea that his children have corrupted DNA that will spread if something is not done about it. Matthew explained that he was either crazy or the only person that is left on earth that is a true man, and that while he was in Mexico before killing his children, Matthew laid in bed seeing all the pieces being decoded like the Matrix, and he was Neo. Matthew also discussed time travel, teleportation, Roxy and Kaleo telling him about babies being placed in fireworks, food, and walls. Matthew explained that his children were communicating with him, that Kaleo told him that Abby and a family friend were abusing Kaleo and Roxy, and that eventually Matthew saw the big picture and that he had to kill his children to prevent them from becoming an alien species that would release carnage over the earth. Okay, so QAnon was number 4. Matthew mentioned during the interview that Q was actually talking to him. Okay, there is supposedly, with this whole conspiracy theory, Q is supposed to be a person. They think that it might be JFK Jr. The number 5, The Matrix, is a science fiction film. Neo is the lead character. And 6, on August 10th, 2021, while I was transporting Matthew Coleman to the Santa Ana jail, Matthew discussed his religious beliefs, work as a pastor, and the biblical story of Abraham sacrificing his son Isaac, as well as Nephilim. I hope I pronounced that right. On August 12th, 2021, FBI agents interviewed AP, a friend of Matthew Coleman's and Abby's. AP explained that Matthew was very spiritual and claimed he knew what God was saying. However, Matthew had a hard time sharing what was in his head and had to dumb down his visions and dreams for others. Okay, during the interview, Matthew Coleman showed the interviewing agent several hand signals or signs that Matthew said were an indication that someone was a part of the conspiracy and showing their allegiance. Matthew then explained that he scrolled through Instagram and took screenshots of individuals making these hand signals or signs. Matthew explained that he does not use Facebook anymore, but had recently searched through his friend AM's Facebook account and saw a posted photograph of AM making one of the gestures over his eye. Matthew showed agents the hand gesture. According to Matthew, after seeing AM's posting with the hand gesture, Matthew knew that the whole thing was a setup and they were using people to get to Matthew. Matthew identified and initialed photographs of Roxy and Kaleo's dead bodies as his children. Matthew said he knew what he did was wrong, but it was the only course of action that would save the world. Matthew signed a consent form allowing the FBI to search his iPhone and provided the passcode. Abby was interviewed at SYPOE on August 9th, 2021, after Matthew had entered the SYPOE without his children. FBI Special Agent Zachary Schaefer and Jesse Chappell conducted a Mirandized interview with Abby Coleman. I reviewed the recording of that interview and observed the following. Abby explained that she and her husband were researching QAnon, and Matthew became significantly more paranoid that people around him were involved in a conspiracy. Abby said that Matthew started doing a lot of research on leaders running the church and found that they may have been part of the conspiracy. Abby explained that Matthew began seeing signs in people's social media posts, and Matthew believed he was able to connect the people running the church to people in their community and to some of their best friends. Abby said that Matthew found information on their friends' Instagram accounts that Matthew believed showed that they were all in on this thing together. Matthew even accused Abby of being part of the conspiracy. Matthew Coleman's comments on social media. On August 10th, 2021, while Matthew was being transported from the SYPOE to the Santa Ana jail, Matthew told me and Special Agent Bannon that he started to believe everyone around him was against him, including his friend AM. Matthew said he knew AM was in on it because he saw an Instagram photo of AM making signs with his hands. Additionally, on August 10th, 2021, while Special Agent Bannon and I were transporting Matthew to the Ventura County Jail, Matthew said that about 5 days after he left for Mexico, he started to get clarity. Matthew said he saw messages on Instagram that were showing hand signs, proving they were targeting Matthew Coleman, and Matthew began to understand what those messages meant. Okay. Abby stated during the interview that Matthew Coleman was identifying signs on Instagram and not Facebook, but as further described in the affidavit, Matthew Coleman and others shared Facebook links to various articles, and Matthew mentioned identifying a friend exhibiting a sign on Facebook. Interview of Matthew Coleman's friend AM. On August 20th, 2021, Matthew's friend AM was interviewed by Special Agent Bannon and me. During the interview, AM told us the following. Matthew started noticing signs everywhere, including postings on Instagram from musicians, teachers, and his friends. Matthew took notice of symbols he saw in photographs. Approximately 3 weeks before Matthew left for Mexico, Matthew started asking AM about these photographs and the hand gestures and symbols depicted in the photographs. Matthew stated that people in the photographs making these signs were evil, disguised as good. Therefore, these people were compromised. AM also said that on August 5th, 2021, 2 days prior to Matthew taking his children to Mexico, Matthew began showing AM screenshots from Instagram of AM's closest friends making hand gestures such as peace signs. Matthew accused AM of being a loyalist, which was why AM could not see that he was being controlled. Within hours of Matthew taking his children to Mexico, Abby called AM, and AM went to the Coleman residence. Abby showed AM a Facebook photograph of AM and his friends when AM was approximately 13 years old, making the photograph over 10 years old. The photograph depicted AM and his friends making hand gestures. Based at least in part on these hand gestures, AM said that Abby accused him of being in on it, and eventually Abby chased AM out of the Coleman residence. Identification of the subject accounts. After Matthew Coleman's arrest, FBI personnel conducted an open source search through the internet for Facebook and Instagram and located the subject accounts. Subject account 1 was positively identified by matching the name Matthew Taylor Coleman and the profile picture photograph, which shows a picture of Matthew Coleman. Subject account 2 was positively identified by matching the name of Coleman's business, Love Water Surf. Preservation requests have been in place for subject account 1 since August 9th, 2021, and subject account 2 since August 12th, 2021. Law enforcement agents and officers investigating this case learned the name of Matthew's business during their interviews and investigation. Agents have interviewed several of Matthew's employees at Love Water Surf who indicated Matthew owned the business. Additionally, the public profile portion of subject account 1 states that Matthew is the founder of Love Water Surf School. I believe Matthew Coleman exclusively or primarily operated subject account 2 because 1, the business is a relatively small surfing school and several employees were temporary or seasonal. 2, none of the employees that agents have interviewed described their duties as marketing or managing social media accounts. 3, in reviewing Matthew's digital devices, agents have not found any communications with or indication he employs a social media manager or marketing arm. 4, Matthew appeared to control other digital platforms used as part of the business, including Fair Harbor, a business management software platform that Matthew accessed from his digital devices and which was used to run all aspects of the business, and the business Instagram account. His iPhone had several Instagram direct messages to and from that account. And 5, his digital devices contained several photos, videos, and URLs related to the business. During my review of Matthew's iPhone and the MacBook, I saw at least 11 text message exchanges between Matthew and others in which Facebook links were shared. For example, on June 19, 2020, Matthew's friend AM sent a Facebook link to Matthew showing a video screenshot of former President Donald Trump being interviewed, along with writing that says, Team Trump Online, Aliens, and Triggered Presidential Edition, text Trump to 88022. Additionally, on December 3, 2020, AM sent Matthew a Facebook link to a video entitled, Our Favorite Election Tampering Witness Still Refuses to be Bullied by Representative Steve Johnson. Training and experience regarding individuals who commit violent crimes and the use of social media by those who believe in or participate in conspiracy theories. Based on my training and experience and my discussions with other law enforcement personnel, I know that some people who are arrested for violent crimes will feign mental illness, i.e., engage in malingering behavior, whereas others may suffer from legitimate mental illness. One way to determine if a person has a legitimate mental illness or is malingering, or to determine the extent to which a person understood the nature of their actions, is to examine their conduct and communication with others in the time around and leading up to specific events. For that reason, I believe an examination of Matthew's social media content and communications will help establish his true mental state leading up to and around the time of the murders, as well as his mental state in relation to Roxy, Kaleo, and Abby. Okay, let's back up here. On January 15th, 2021, Matthew's friend JR sent a text message to Matthew that said JR was going to send something to Matthew on Facebook Messenger. I know that this refers to Facebook's messaging service. Matthew responded by writing, "I don't have Facebook Messenger. No Facebook on phone right now. Telegram is a pretty rad alternative." Additionally, based on my training and experience and my discussions with other law enforcement personnel, I know that people who participate in and believe in conspiracy theories such as QAnon or Illuminati will often find like-minded individuals through online groups that are hosted on various social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also know, based on my training and experience and discussions with other law enforcement personnel, that individuals who participate in and believe in conspiracy theories such as QAnon and Illuminati will often communicate with other like-minded individuals on social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as through encrypted chat platforms such as WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram. Training and experience regarding Facebook/Meta. Meta owns and operates Facebook, a free access social networking website that can be accessed at facebook.com. Facebook users can use their accounts to share communications, news, photographs, videos, and other information with other Facebook users and sometimes with the general public. Meta asks Facebook users to provide basic contact and personal identifying information either during their registration process or thereafter. This information may include the user's full name, birth date, gender, email addresses, physical address, including city, state, and zip code, telephone numbers, screen names, websites, and other personal identifiers. Each Facebook user is assigned a user identification number and can choose a username. Facebook users may join one or more groups or networks to connect and interact with other users who are members of the same group or network. Facebook assigns a group identification number to each group. A Facebook user can also connect directly with individual Facebook users by sending each user a friend request. If the recipient of a friend request accepts the request, then the two users will become friends for purposes of Facebook and can exchange communications or view information about each other. Each Facebook user's account includes a list of that user's friends and a news feed, which highlights information about the user's friends, such as profile changes, upcoming events, and birthdays. Facebook users can select different levels of privacy for the communications and information associated with their Facebook accounts. By adjusting these privacy settings, a Facebook user can make information available only to himself or herself, to particular Facebook users, or to anyone with access to the internet, including people who are not Facebook users. A Facebook user can also create lists of Facebook friends to facilitate the application of these privacy settings. Facebook accounts also include other account settings that users can adjust to control, for example, the types of notifications they receive from Facebook. Facebook users can create profiles that include photographs, lists of personal interest, and other information. Facebook users can also post status updates about their whereabouts and actions, as well as links to videos, photographs, articles, and other items available elsewhere on the internet. Facebook users can also post information about upcoming events, such as special social occasions, by listing the event's time, location, host, and guest list. In addition, Facebook users can check in to particular locations or add their geographic locations to their Facebook posts, thereby revealing their geographic locations at particular dates and times. A particular user's profile page also includes a wall which is a space where the user and his or her friends can post messages, attachments, and links that will typically be visible to anyone who can view the user's profile. Facebook users can upload photos and videos to be posted on their wall, included in chats or for other purposes. Users can tag other users in a photo or video and can be tagged by others. When a user is tagged in a photo or video, he or she generally receives a notification of the tag and a link to see the photo or video. Facebook users can use Facebook Messenger to communicate with other users via text, voice, or video. Meta retains instant messages and certain other shared messenger content unless deleted by the user, and also retains transactional records related to voice and video chats. Facebook users can also post comments on the Facebook profiles of other users or on their own profiles. Such comments are typically associated with a specific posting or item on the profile. If a Facebook user does not want to interact with another user on Facebook, the first user can block the second user from seeing his or her account. Facebook has a like feature that allows users to give positive feedback or connect to particular pages. Facebook users can like Facebook posts or updates, as well as web pages or content on third-party, i.e. non-Facebook, websites. Facebook users can also become fans of particular Facebook pages. Facebook has a search function that enables its users to search Facebook for keywords, usernames, or pages, among other things. Each Facebook account has an activity log, which is a list of the user's posts and other Facebook activities from the inception of the account to the present. The activity log includes stories and photos that the user has been tagged in, as well as connections made through the account, such as liking a Facebook page or adding someone as a friend. The activity log is visible to the user, but cannot be viewed by people who visit the user's Facebook page. Facebook also has a marketplace feature which allows users to post free classified ads. Users can post items for sale, housing, jobs, and other items on the marketplace. In addition to the features described above, Meta provides users with access to thousands of other apps on the Facebook platform. When a Facebook user accesses or uses one of these applications, an update about that the user's access or use of that application may appear on the user's profile page. Meta also retains records of which IP addresses were used by an account to log into or out of Facebook, as well as IP addresses used to take certain actions on the platform. For example, when a user uploads a photo, the user's IP address is retained by Meta along with the timestamp. Meta retains location information associated with Facebook users under some circumstances, such as if a user enables location history, check-ins to an event, or tags a post with the location. Social networking providers like Meta typically retain additional information about the user's accounts, such as information about the length of service, including the start date, the types of service utilized, and the means and source of any payments associated with the service, including any credit card or bank account numbers. In some cases, Facebook users may communicate directly with Meta about issues relating to their accounts, such as technical problems, billing inquiries, or complaints from other users. Social networking providers like Meta typically retain records about such communications, including records of contacts between the user and the provider's support services, as well as records of any actions taken by the provider or user as a result of the communications. Okay, procedures for electronically stored information. Federal agents and investigative support personnel are trained and experienced in identifying communications relevant to the crimes under investigation. The personnel of Meta are not. It would be inappropriate and impractical for federal agents to search the vast computer network of Meta for the relevant accounts and then to analyze the contents of those accounts on the premises of Meta. The impact on Meta's business would be disruptive and severe. Therefore, in order to accomplish the objective of the search warrant with the minimum of interference with the business activities of Meta, to protect the privacy of Meta's subscribers whose accounts are not authorized to be searched, and to effectively pursue this investigation, the FBI seeks authorization to allow Meta to make a digital copy of the entire contents of the subject accounts. That copy will be provided to me or to any authorized federal agent. The copy will be imaged, and the image will then be analyzed to identify communications and other electronic records subject to seizure pursuant to Attachment B. Relevant electronic records will be copied to separate media. The original media will be sealed and maintained to establish authenticity if necessary. Analyzing the data to be provided by Meta may require special technical skills, equipment, and software. It may also be very time-consuming. Searching for keywords, for example, often yields many thousands of hits, each of which must be reviewed in its context by the examiner to determine whether the data is within the scope of the warrant. Merely finding a relevant hit does not end the review process. Keyword searches do not capture misspelled words, reveal the use of coded language, or account for slang. Keyword searches are further limited when electronic records are in or use foreign languages. Certain file formats also do not lend themselves to keyword searches. Keywords search text. Many common electronic mail, database, and spreadsheet applications, which files may be attachments, do not store data as searchable text. Instead, such data is saved in a proprietary non-text format, and as the volume of storage allotted by service provider increases, the time it takes to properly analyze recovered data increases dramatically. Internet service providers also do not always organize the electronic files they provide chronologically, which makes review more time-consuming and may require the examiner to review each page or record for responsive material. Based on the foregoing, searching the recovered data for the information subject to seizure pursuant to this warrant may require a range of data analysis techniques and may take weeks or even months. Keywords need to be modified continuously based upon the results obtained and depending on the organization, format, and the language of the records provided by the ISP. Examiners may need to review each record to determine if it is responsive to Attachment B. The personnel conducting the examination will complete the analysis within 90 days of receipt of the data from the service provider, absent further application to this court. Based upon my experience and training, and the experience and training of other agents with whom I have communicated, it is necessary to review and seize all electronic messages that identify any users of the subject accounts and any electronic messages sent or received in temporal proximity to relevant electronic messages that provide context to the relevant messages. All forensic analysis of the imaged data will employ search protocols directed exclusively to the identification and extraction of data within the scope of this warrant. Conclusion. Based on the foregoing, I request that the court issue the proposed search warrant. Pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 2703G, the presence of a law enforcement officer is not required for the service or execution of this warrant. The government will execute this warrant by serving it on Meta. Because the warrant will be served on Meta, which will then compile the requested records at a time convenient to it, reasonable cause exists to permit the execution of the requested warrant at any time in the day or night. Joseph P. Hamer, Special Agent, FBI. Okay, this is attachment A, and this is attachment B. Looks like we kind of sort of went over all this, though. The search of the data supplied by Meta pursuant to this warrant will be conducted by the FBI, and any government personnel working with the FBI is provided in the procedures for electronically stored information of the affidavit submitted in support of this search warrant, and will be limited to the period of October 2018 to August 10, 2021, and to the seizure of data, communications records, or information. A, tending to show Matthews, Abby's, Roxy's, or Kalio's travel inside or outside of the United States. B, tending to indicate Matthews' state of mind, competency, or coherence in relation to Abby, Roxy, Kalio, and the subject offense. C, tending to indicate a plan to commit the subject offense or conceal the commission of the subject offense. D, tending to indicate interest in QAnon or Illuminati. E, about the use, purchase, or acquisition of a spearfishing gun. And F, tending to identify the user of subject account 1 or subject account 2, which is evidence of violations of Title 18 United States Code Section 1119 and 1111, foreign murder of U.S. nationals. Let me get back to service of the warrant. The officer executing the warrant shall permit Meta Platforms Inc. as custodian of the computer files described in Section 2 below, to locate the files and copy them onto removable electronic storage media and deliver the same to the officer. Items to be provided by the ISP. All subscriber and/or user information and content, all electronic mail, images, text messages, histories, phone and voice IP logs? VoIP logs, contacts or friend lists, profiles, method of payment, detailed billing records, access logs, backup data, transactional data, and any other files or records associated with the following accounts and screen names: Facebook username Matthew T. Coleman. 5, subject account 1, and 2, Facebook username Lovewater Surf, subject account 2. And we just did that, and we did that, and that's it. That took almost an hour to read. Do you know that, people? You know I must love yous. All right. You could hear my voice is going too, right? I will chat with you later. Catch you in the next one.